With Joe Biden calling a lid at the NATO summit in Vilnius, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán helped prevent Ukraine from joining NATO. A NATO membership for Ukraine would put the defensive alliance at war with Russia, potentially sparking WW3. While Hungary was the only member state to publicly voice its opposition to bringing the most corrupt country in Europe into NATO, many others advised caution behind closed doors, said Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó. Instead of bringing weapons to Ukraine, we should bring peace, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said. Hungary stands firmly on the side of peace. Instead of war, peace negotiations should start as soon as possible. Orbán referenced his responsibility for the Hungarian minority living in Ukraine, since the war is in our neighborhood, and tens of thousands of Hungarian people are in immediate danger because there are Hungarians living in Transcarpathia, in Ukraine. Hungary insists that NATO should not change its previous position. NATO is a military defense alliance. It was created to protect its member states, not to carry out military actions on the territory of other countries, Orbán said. At the start of the negotiations, the Hungarian position completely coincides with NATO's position, since NATO does not send troops, does not send weapons, does not train combat military units, but rather tries to strengthen the defense capabilities of its own member states. This is necessary and right, and Hungary will support it. Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Szijjártó warned that there is a camp campaigning forcefully for Ukraine to join NATO and pull the alliance into direct war with the Russian Federation. Those thinking responsibly and advising caution oppose that agenda, Szijjártó said. He noted that Hungary had been alone to call for caution openly, while there were others advising caution behind closed doors, and it became clear that the number of those thinking responsibly is larger than it seemed, Szijjártó said. Obviously, the NATO integration of a country currently at war is out of the question. That would mean an immediate threat of war to the entire alliance, Szijjártó said. The warmongers in the Biden regime have led Ukraine down the primrose path of war with Russia ever since Antony Blinken's U.S.-Ukraine Charter on Strategic Partnership November 2021 set the stage for Ukraine's NATO membership. Senator Lindsey Graham visited Kyiv in May and allegedly called Russians dying the best money we've ever spent. This seeming encouragement has led Ukraine to send thousands of young men to die in Russian minefields in a failed spring offensive which has cost at least 15,000 Ukrainian lives, Gateway Pundit has learned from Western intel sources. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu puts Ukraine's losses at 26,000, TASS reported. The adversary's losses beginning from June 4 have reached over 26,000 servicemen and 3,000 items of various pieces of armament, Shoigu said. To clear the Russian minefields and defensive positions, the USA is now contemplating sending banned cluster ammunition to Ukraine, a clear violation of international law. Now it has become clear the Biden administration will leave the Ukrainians out in the cold, prompting an angry reaction from actor and President Volodymyr Zelensky, saying Ukraine deserves respect and calling it unprecedented and absurd that no timeframe has been set for Ukraine's NATO membership. It seems there is no readiness either to invite Ukraine to NATO nor to make it a member of the alliance, Zelensky fumed. Members of the U.S. delegation were furious after learning about the Ukrainian leader's message, The Washington Post reported, citing an unnamed official familiar with the matter. Zelensky blasting the alliance stood in stark contrast to the image of Western harmony that U.S. President Joe Biden and his aides had been projecting, the Walpo reported.